So the story that's in the film is not the story that we begin with. Initially, the movie was initiated by a former girlfriend of mine, Linda Obst, and she and I then conceived the movie that had the broad outline of this of going through a wormhole, exploring planets around a black hole, and coming back. But the human story was very different because we are not great storytellers like the Nolan brothers are. And so when the Nolan brothers came on, first Jonah Nolan, who was the brother of the director, Christopher Nolan, he's a younger brother. He wrote three drafts of the screenplay and completely changed the human story of the first half of the movie. And then when his Christopher Nolan joined in to become the director, he completely changed the second half of the movie. So the story is the Nolan brothers story. It's a superb story, but the science that's in the movie is science that either Linda Obst and I put into the movie from the very beginning, or that was added to the movie through brainstorming between me and each of the Nolan brothers. The story, in some sense, is a story of father and daughter. There's the Professor Brand and his daughter, Amelia Brand, and is one big piece of it, and the other piece is between Cooper and his daughter Murphy. If you look at Christopher Nolan's movies from the past that preceded this, the character development in the movies, while good, is not superb. And I think it's widely regarded that this was the movie in which his character development was really the very, very best. And that I am sure is because of his own close relationship with his own daughter. And he was building a story about father-daughter relationship that was very much motivated by his own relationship to his own daughter. My motivation in doing this film was largely one of wanting to inspire people, especially young people, about science. And it was to do it with a film whose venue, whose environment of the film is the subject, black holes and time warps, that I worked on through my whole scientific career. How better to reach large numbers of people and inspire them about science than through a Hollywood film? I mean, this movie sold about 100 million tickets worldwide. And a professor at Caltech, I know there's no other way to reach 100 million people except through something like this. Turned out to be very successful, it appears to me, in inspiring people. I meet people all over the world, in Asia, in Africa, in South America, in North America, Australia, New Zealand, China, all over the world, who come up to me and they say, I decided I wanted to be a scientist because of Interstellar. And it's just inspiring to me to see how many people were inspired by this film. The film really came out much better than I expected. I thought it would be good, but I think it is really an outstanding film, and I'm very proud of my role on the film. The other thing I would say about the film was it was a joy, just wonderful to work with Christopher Nolan, Jonathan Nolan, the visual effects team led by Paul Franklin on this film, and the actors. And everybody that I worked with on this, everybody that I met connected with it, was excited to work with a real scientist on a film that was based on real science. When I would go to the studio when we were working on the film, everybody from the top studio executives to the man who parked my car, everybody was excited that I was the real scientist who was the source of the ideas, the scientific ideas in this film. It was really just marvelous to see the level of enthusiasm. I have been working on another film, which may or may not get made, that is also a science fiction film that involves other science beyond warp space and time. I don't want to reveal the details of it. I was working on it, began it also with Linda Obst. Linda very sadly died a few months ago. She was really a great filmmaker in Hollywood, a producer of superb films. She did not just Interstellar, but Contact with Carl Sagan, Fisher King, Sleepless in Seattle, a large number of films of very different sorts. And she was great to work with. And with her having passed away, I don't know whether the film that we were working on will actually ever get made. I'm not interested in working on other people's films. There are other things to do in life besides films. And I have recently published with together with a great painter, Leah Halloran, a book of my poetry and Leah's paintings as a means to communicate science, a very different kind of a means than movies, to communicate the basic essence of science to people with tightly integrated, tightly connected paintings and poetry. And so, and I'm thinking of writing a novel, and I'm just enjoying doing these kinds of things, but I very carefully choose what to do and as my own projects. I would say enjoy the film. The science in the film is real science. It's exciting science. Let me say explicitly, when we first started working on the film, Christopher Nolan said to me, I would like to have an ending for the film that is as mysterious as the ending of 2001, A Space Odyssey, the masterpiece of Stanley Kubrick. So he did produce such an ending to some extent in collaboration with me. And then he said to me, you can explain the ending of the film in your book, The Science of Interstellar. And I think it's true. If your audience is puzzled about the ending of the film, I think the only place you can get the true explanation of the ending is in my book, The Science of Interstellar. And so enjoy the film. And if want to know more, go look at my book.